And for more on the fashion tech fusion, we're joined by Karen Moon. She's the CEO and co-founder of Trendalytics. Karen, good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Karen, technology is certainly very prevalent in this week's Fashion Week here in New York City. We have everything from wearable tech to fabrics that measure biometric data. What are some of the most interesting items?
Yeah, so fashion or technology has really exploded in fashion in a number of ways, actually, both in the physical experience in the shows, infused into the product, as you discussed, and also in how we're broadcasting that message via social media. So I think some of the more interesting things that have happened this past week with the physical experience is with notably Gareth Pugh and Marc Jacobs, which just showed just a few hours ago. Gareth Pugh, what he did was actually he created, instead of having your traditional show where you have models walking down the runway, it was a theatrical experience with lighting and technology all infused into that experience. And what's interesting about what Marc Jacobs did is instead of having everyone listen to music, he took this cultural trend of the silent disco, where everyone's wearing headphones and you don't see, so he actually collaborated with Beats by Dre, where the audience was listening to the show, which was really interesting.
But let's talk about how tech has actually worked its way into the physical product.
Sure.
Tory Burch coming out with a fitness bracelet, really combining that technical functionality with a higher end fashion. Is wearable tech in terms of jewelry the next frontier?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for that, and it's just a matter of how do we start incorporating it into something that is aesthetically beautiful, right? And so as technology is in our day-to-day lives, how do we make it something we want to wear? So for example, I'm not the person who would wear Fitbit, but Tory Burch's bracelet sold out in the first day. And so you look at some of the interesting technologies that were brought into the shows as Rebecca Minkoff. They actually had a 3D show where you could see the prints in 3D if you're wearing 3D glasses.
So now we have to wear 3D glasses to fully appreciate our friends' fashion.
And some of them. So there's a lot of interesting things that people are doing to infuse technology.
What about the fabric that measures biometric information? Is that just a fad? Does that really have any long appeal?
You know, I think it's interesting. It depends on how it will be adopted and ultimately the effectiveness. So Ralph Lauren actually, during the US Open, had biometric shirts, where it actually measured your pulse, your heartbeat, and they had all the tennis ball people wearing them. And so it's something that it was a great way to open up. And
which designers are really leading the way here?
So I think Burberry's has always been, at the cutting edge and doing the most innovative things, and they often are willing to try new things. And actually on their runway show next Monday, their Twitter just launched the new Buy app, and they're actually going to they announced that they're incorporating that into their show, so you can buy nail polish.
Well, let's talk about the role that social media is now playing in fashion, and it's very integral.
Yes. So it's interesting. The idea of shows traditionally have been for the industries. Editors and buyers go to see what's next for that next season, what they're going to market in their campaigns, what they're going to buy for their stores. And now it's become much more democratic. You have bloggers in the front row, and what's also become of it is content. And so fashion designers are using Fashion Week in a number of different ways to create content and really to connect with their consumer in different ways.
So is fashion now becoming more personalized, more customable? Is there a trend towards a more customized all this data about us?
Yes, that's right. Now there's so much information about what consumers are sharing on Pinterest or Instagram, what they're searching for, and there's a lot of opportunity to personalize the experience for the consumer online, but also at the end of the day, what does that mean for business? And how can you take that information to better anticipate consumer demand and drive profitability? And that's one of the things we...
Technology, that's having a significant impact. I know you're wanting to tell us about that.
Yeah, so 3D printing is still in its early days in fashion and what you can do with different textiles and fabrics. This is a necklace made out of resin. It's actually a really talented architect who's just launching her line. And what's interesting about what 3D printing can do for the industry is how you can actually solve the inventory problem once you get there. This industry is fraught with, very thin margins, and the average markdown ratio for inventory is 50%. You have a lot of inventory that just doesn't make it. So if you can actually start to know what consumers want and that you can produce on demand,
right?
It's going to change the industry.
And you can make it yourself at home once you
Yeah,
get that
there you
3D
go.
printer. All right, thank you so much, Karen Moon, CEO and co-founder of Trendalytics.